the veil between realms, discovering the cosmic identity within you. From the moment we take our first breath, the universe begins whispering to us. Some of us hear it louder than others, a subtle hum that echoes through our bones, a reminder that we were never just here to exist. If you've always felt like you were meant to do more, to stand in the space between light and shadow, then you may be one of the rare few born not to take sides, but to hold the line between the realms. The first and most telling sign is the tension inside you, the pull between compassion and chaos, peace and rage. You've likely spent nights wondering why your heart aches for peace, yet your spirit burns with rebellion. That's because you're not here to be peaceful. You're here to be powerful, not in domination, but in balance. The world needs someone who can understand both the angel and the demon, not to destroy either, but to unify what has been divided for too long. The second sign is your relationship with truth. You've always known when someone isn't being real. You've felt it in your body, tightness in the chest, a strange discomfort in your stomach. It's not anxiety, it's intuition. You're tuned into the invisible, the unspoken, the unsaid. You see the truth in people, even when they lie to themselves. And it's exhausting, isn't it? To hold that level of awareness in a world that worships comfort over clarity. But this is your gift. You are a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. You reflect what others refuse to see. This means your presence alone can bring discomfort to those hiding behind masks. Do not shrink for their comfort. You were born to reveal. Even if it makes others uncomfortable, even if it costs you relationships, your commitment to truth is your sword, and it must stay sharp. The third sign is the weight of loneliness. You've always felt like an outsider. No matter how many people you surround yourself with, there's an echo inside you that no one seems to understand. It's not social isolation. It's cosmic displacement. It's the memory of something higher, something older. You might not be able to name it, but you feel it. Like part of you remembers a place where light had weight and sound had form. That place is real, and you've been carrying its frequency your entire life. The loneliness isn't punishment, it's preparation. Because only those who can withstand solitude without losing themselves can stand in the middle of a war and not be swayed. Loneliness has taught you how to be whole, and that wholeness is what makes you unshakable. The fourth sign is your pain. Real, deep, soul-level pain. The kind of pain that cracks your identity open and leaves you gasping for air. You've been betrayed, abandoned, misunderstood. You've cried out to the sky asking why your life has been so hard, so full of loss, so endlessly intense. But what if I told you pain wasn't the enemy? What if I told you it was the initiation? You see, when a soul is chosen to balance the war between angels and demons, it must first understand both suffering and salvation. Your pain was never punishment. It was alchemy. It was the sacred fire that burned away your illusions so that you could stand as something stronger than belief, embodied truth. Every scar on your heart is a symbol of a battle survived. And every battle survived is a reminder that you are not here to break. You are here to become. The fifth sign is your sensitivity. You've probably been told you're too much, too emotional, too intense, too sensitive. But in truth, your sensitivity is a divine instrument. You feel the world like a tuning fork. You walk into a room and absorb everything: the joy, the fear, the lies, the longing. And yes, it can be overwhelming, but it's also your gift, because only those who feel deeply can heal deeply. Your sensitivity is not a weakness, it's a superpower. It's the reason you can detect darkness in someone's smile or light in someone's silence. You don't just see people, you feel them. And in a world where so many are numb, Your ability to feel is a form of rebellion. Protect it, sharpen it, use it. The sixth sign is that you've had moments, brief, intense, mysterious, where you felt something watching over you. A presence, a force. Maybe it came during a crisis. Maybe it came during meditation. Maybe it came when you least expected it. But you felt it, and it felt ancient, familiar, like a part of you that exists beyond the physical. These visitations are not hallucinations. They are reminders that you are not alone, that you are being guided, trained, protected, because you are part of something bigger than you realize. You're not just a person, you're a portal, a vessel, a living bridge between worlds. And as you awaken to that, the guidance becomes clearer. Synchronicities start to increase. Dreams start revealing secrets. And your path, though mysterious, starts to feel destined. The seventh and final sign is the calling. It's the one thing you can't explain but can't ignore. It's not a voice, but it speaks. It's not a map, but it guides. It's that feeling that you were meant for something more, something ancient, sacred, and powerful. You've tried to live a normal life, but the calling keeps pulling you back. It doesn't let you settle. It doesn't let you sleepwalk through life. Because you didn't come here to sleep. You came here to awaken. And when you do, the war doesn't end, but your role becomes clear. You are not here to fight for angels or demons. You are here to hold the balance, to become the still point in the storm, to be the one who remembers that light without shadow is blindness, and shadow without light is despair. You are both. You are neither. You are the balance, and the world needs you now more than ever. If this resonated with even a part of your soul, ask yourself this: what am I pretending not to know about who I really am? The sacred weapon, how to sharpen the soul that stands between heaven and hell. The moment you realize you were born to balance the war between angels and demons, everything changes. You begin to see your life not as a sequence of random events, but as a carefully orchestrated training ground. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every night you cried out to the stars was part of the forging process. Because if you are to stand between light and shadow, you cannot be fragile. You must be forged like a blade, tempered by fire and quenched in silence. You are not here to be soft. You are here to be sacred steel. And the first step to sharpening the soul is learning to sit in discomfort without running. Most people numb themselves. They avoid pain, truth, and responsibility. But you face it. You breathe deeper. You let it carve into you, because you know that the soul does not grow in comfort. It grows in confrontation, with fear, with ego, with illusion. To sharpen your soul, you must master the art of stillness. Not silence, but stillness. There is a difference. Silence is the absence of sound. Stillness is the presence of awareness. When we sit in stillness, away from the noise, the screens, the opinions, we begin to hear the whisper of the eternal. That whisper is your compass. That whisper is the voice of the soul. It will not scream. It will not beg for your attention. It will wait. If you do not listen, it will grow quiet. But if you turn your attention inward, that whisper becomes a roar. And in that roar, you will find your purpose. So, ask yourself, when was the last time I sat with myself and listened? Not for answers, but for alignment. That is your daily ritual now. Not yoga, not incense, not mantras, but presence. Pure, unfiltered, unapologetic presence with your own being. The next sharpening comes through radical honesty, not just with others, but with yourself. You cannot balance the war if you are still lying to yourself about who you are. Are you pretending to be more light than you really are? Are you hiding your rage, your shame, your lust, your shadow? Then you are fragmented. And fragmentation is weakness. You must become whole to become holy. That means owning every part of yourself, the angel and the demon, the healer and the destroyer. Because here's the truth. Until you claim your own darkness, it will control you. You must name it, love it, integrate it. Only then can you stand in the fire of others and not be burned. Only then can you be trusted by the forces that guard both realms. Because the spirits do not trust the fake. They do not work with the masked. They work with those who are real, raw, ready. Another step in sharpening your sacred weapon is learning how to protect your energy. You are a vessel of balance. That means you attract energy like a magnet. People will come to you for healing, for guidance, for clarity. They will pour their shadows into your lap, and without boundaries, you will drown. Protection is not selfish. It is sacred maintenance. You must learn how to say no, how to walk away, how to unplug from toxic dynamics. You must cleanse your space, guard your rituals, and stop allowing people to treat your presence like a bottomless well. Your energy has value. Treat it like sacred currency. If you give it away freely to anyone who asks, you weaken your field. Balance requires strength, and strength requires boundaries. Remember, angels have swords for a reason. One of the most overlooked aspects of soul sharpening is movement. Not just physical exercise, but intentional, sacred movement. Your body is not separate from your spirit. It is the temple. It is the channel. The war between angels and demons is not just cosmic, it plays out in your nervous system, your breath, your posture. If you are slouched, exhausted, disconnected from your body, then you are easier to manipulate by both inner and outer forces. But when you move with intention, through dance, martial arts, breathwork, or even walking, you awaken the warrior within. You become present in your form. You stop being a floating head and become an embodied force. And that embodiment is what makes you dangerous to the forces of chaos. Because an awakened, embodied soul cannot be controlled. And that is exactly what you are becoming. Sharpening your soul also means facing your lineage. We often forget that our spiritual mission is not just about us. It's about the blood in our veins. The ancestors whose unfinished stories echo through our DNA. Some of you have inherited karmic patterns, addiction, abandonment, violence, silence. These are not curses. These are contracts, and you were born to break them, to transmute them, to end cycles of suffering that have gone on for generations. And you do that not by escaping your family, but by understanding them. Not by judging your heritage, but by honoring what you carry. Ask yourself, what wound runs through my family that ends with me? That is your sacred task. That is part of your weapon. Because when you heal your bloodline, you don't just free yourself, you free everyone who came before you, and everyone who will come after. Finally, the sharpest edge of your soul will come from service. Not charity, not saviorism, but sacred service. The kind that is rooted in wisdom, not ego. You are not here to fix people. You are here to be a beacon, a reminder, a frequency. Sometimes that means speaking truth. Sometimes it means holding space. Sometimes it means walking away so someone can face their own fire. But always, it means showing up as your fullest self. Because in a world filled with noise, the rarest power is presence. You don't need a platform to serve. You don't need followers, crystals, or titles. You just need to be real, sharp, whole. When you embody that, people feel it. Rooms shift. Synchronicities appear. And the war? It slows. It quiets. Because balance is no longer a concept, it's a person. It's you. Now ask yourself, if I fully stepped into the role of the soul warrior I was born to be, what would I have to let go of today? What mask would need to fall? There comes a moment in every soul warrior's journey when the old identity can no longer hold the truth of who they've become. This moment isn't loud. It doesn't come with fireworks or applause. It often comes quietly, like a soft cracking inside your chest, as if the armor you've worn your whole life is finally crumbling under the weight of your awakening. This is the final initiation, not into more knowledge, but into being. You no longer need to chase answers. You become the answer. You no longer seek the path. You are the path. And when that happens, the war doesn't end, but your role in it becomes clear. You are not a soldier. You are not a savior. You are the still point in the center of it all, the axis. And that axis must be unshakable, not because it never feels fear, but because it knows who it is even in the middle of fire, confusion, and doubt. To become the axis is to live without sides, not in apathy, but in absolute awareness. You see the dance of duality, the angel and the demon, the light and the dark, the victim and the villain, and you hold them in your gaze without flinching. You do not take sides because sides are illusions born from fragmented consciousness. You take responsibility. That is what sets you apart. While the world argues over who is right and who is wrong, you ask the deeper question, what needs to be integrated here? What is this conflict begging us to understand? This is not weakness. It is spiritual maturity, and spiritual maturity is rare. It means you've stopped needing to be the hero in every story. It means you've stopped projecting your wounds onto the world and started transforming them into wisdom. That is the power of the axis. It doesn't react. It responds. It doesn't attack. It aligns. But alignment is not comfort. In fact, becoming the axis often means you lose the comfort of certainty. You no longer have the luxury of black and white thinking. You live in the gray, the sacred in between, and that space is lonely. Few understand it. Fewer can hold it. It's the space where you see that angels can fall and demons can rise. That light can blind and darkness can protect. That truth is not always beautiful, and beauty is not always true. In this space, your heart must be your compass and your soul must be your map. You can't rely on dogma, culture, or even spiritual systems to define you anymore. You must listen within. And if that scares you, good, because fear is the final gatekeeper of freedom. When you walk through it, not around it, you become unstoppable. Not because you feel no fear, but because you know that fear is just the echo of a self that no longer exists. As the axis, your presence begins to affect others in ways you didn't expect. People are drawn to you, not because of what you say, but because of what you radiate. You become a frequency that reminds others of something they forgot, something unseen. Something real. This is where the real responsibility begins. Because people will project onto you. They will want you to be their savior, their guru, their answer. And you must resist the temptation to play that role. You are not here to be worshipped. You are here to be authentic. That is sacred enough. That is powerful enough. Your job is not to carry others, but to walk so fully in your own light that they remember how to walk in theirs. You don't save people, you ignite them. And in doing so, you become a living reminder that balance is not something to be achieved. It is something to be embodied. But to embody balance, you must stay humble. This is the paradox of the spiritual warrior. The more powerful you become, the more humility you must cultivate. Not false humility that denies your gifts, but sacred humility that honors where they come from. Because the moment you begin to believe that you are above others, you fall out of alignment with the very forces that chose you. Remember, the sword is sharpest when it is still. The moment it begins to swing wildly, it becomes dangerous to everyone, including you. Stay grounded. Stay grateful. Speak less. Listen more. Let your presence be louder than your words. The Axis does not boast. It simply is. It doesn't need to be seen. It sees. That is the silent power that reshapes realities without ever raising a fist. And now we arrive at the final truth, the one most people fear to admit. The war between angels and demons is not out there. It's within. Every day you are both. Every day you choose which force you serve, not by your beliefs, but by your actions, by how you treat people, by how you speak to yourself, by the way you move through the world when no one is watching. Becoming the Axis means you stop blaming others for your reactions. It means you stop waiting for the world to align before you do. It means taking radical ownership of your energy, your triggers, your choices. Because once you do that, nothing can own you. Not fear, not shame, not systems, not even spiritual hierarchies. You are no longer controlled by the pendulum of polarity. You hold it. So, what now? You begin. Not as someone who is trying to become something, but as someone who remembers what they already are. You begin by waking up every day and asking, how can I bring more balance into this moment? And then doing it. You begin by speaking truth even when your voice shakes, by loving people without needing to fix them, by trusting your intuition even when it makes no logical sense. You begin by living as if your soul is the axis between heaven and hell, because it is. And the more you live that truth, the more the war quiets. Not because it is over, but because you have become a center that cannot be moved. And that is how the world changes, not through domination, but through embodied remembrance.